commission on any matter pursuant to the Texas Government Code, Section 551007. The commission is not permitted to discuss or take action on any presentations made concerning matters that are not listed on the agenda. Presentations are limited to matters over which the commission has authority. Speakers have up to 3 minutes or the time limit determined by me. Jackie, do we have anybody who wants to make public comments?
No.
No, not, okay, great, we'll move on. Okay. Agenda item number 1, case PD AMD 26003, PD 27 landscape standards. Conduct a public hearing and consider a recommendation to the town council on request by the town of Trophy Club to amend the ordinance establishing Planned Development District number 27, PD 27, the Highlands at Trophy Club, to revise the minimum required number of trees to 1 tree per lot to align the planned development's landscape standards with the town-based zoning ordinance requirements. It is exactly 6:01. I open the public hearing. Staff report.
All right, good evening, commissioners. Okay, this is in regarding PD 27, so that's the Highlands, just a little under 700 acres. If you recall, back in April 9th, Mrs. Fox and we presented to the commission a proposal to revise PD 27. Basically, in summary, the request is minimum required trees in that PD to have that reduced down to one tree required per lot. And I'm going to go just quickly through just a review. This would align with the town's base zoning ordinance requirements. All right, we're going to go over to this section all over here. Okay, so quick review. There are 5 different lot types. The smallest lot type is lot type 5. That's a minimum 50-foot wide. All the rest of them, so lot type 4, 3, 2, and 1, that's going to be in this order 60, 70, 80, 90. So the way that the PD is written is there's a tree every 30 feet. Therefore, lot type 5, they only have to have 1 because they're 50-foot wide, but all the rest would have a requirement of 2, and then of course your lot type 1s, they're 90-foot, would have a requirement of 3. This will also kind of help on, so this area here that you see that's neighborhood 8, these are all lot type 5s. Pretty much everything else is a lot type 1 through 4, other than this one area here. So these all have minimum 1 tree required. Everybody else would be 1 or 2 or 3 more. Is that, trying to make that clear. PD 27 has just a little over 1,400 total homes. This would be affecting about 1,300 of these lots. I've got a presentation. This is really going to be short, and then Mrs. Fox is also here. She's got a quick presentation as well. But notice of public hearing was published as required by the state law and our Trophy Club ordinance. Notices were also mailed out to property owners. And yes, we sent out over 1,600 mailed out letters. At the time of the agenda packet was published, staff received a handful of emails in support. We did have 1 email in opposition, and then we had multiple phone calls, as far as I know, that were all in support. One of the most popular phone calls, to answer your question ahead of time, was, we don't want to cut all our trees down. And so it was just a kind of a misunderstanding of walking them through. You don't have to cut your trees down. It's just if you have 2 or 3 and one died, you wanted to replace 1 or just remove 1, you could. So once we kind of walked through that, Jackie and I had quite a few calls about just that clarification. Town Attorney Dean, he is currently reviewing the ordinance as to form and legality, and based on surveys and citizen feedback, staff does support the proposed amendment to PD 27 and recommends the commission to recommend approval to Town Council. And of course, after we close the public hearing, if y'all have any questions, Mrs. Fox and I are happy to answer any questions. Jenny?
And I'm Jenny Fox at 2753 Enfield Drive. Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you again for the opportunity to speak with you all tonight. I'm here on behalf of the residents of the Highlands at Trophy Club HOA to ask for your support of a proposal to amend Planned Development District Number 27, which we know as PD 27, the Highlands at Trophy Club, to revise the minimum tree requirement to 1 tree per lot, aligning it with the town's zoning ordinance requirements. This past year, the Highlands at Trophy Club HOA surveyed our neighborhood to gauge resident interest in amending the current tree policy to match the rest of the town. In total, we heard from 432 residents, and a clear majority support this change. 62% favored reducing the requirement from 2 trees per lot to 1 tree per lot when asked directly. Residents cited real practical concerns: dead grass, root damage to driveways and foundations, and overcrowded lots that can't properly support 2 mature trees. This amendment simply brings PD 27 in line with the rest of the town. It reflects what our residents have told us they want, and it reduces unnecessary cost and maintenance burdens for homeowners. We respectfully ask the Commission to support this amendment and recommend the Town Council do the same. Thank you for your time. Am I allowed to answer questions or what? Okay, thank you.
You can come back and speak some more in a minute, but anybody else going to speak on this issue at this time? No? No?
Yes, sir.
Or during the discussion?
So you have the choice. You can speak now. The commissioners are not allowed to speak back to you, back and forth during the public hearing, or you can wait till after he closes the public hearing, and then you can speak. It's your choice.
Or you can speak both times.
Or both times, yeah.
So anyone else want to speak at this particular point in time?
Speak after you close it.
Okay, at 6:07 PM, close the public hearing. Now the floor is open for discussion.
Okay, Jennifer Furnish, would you like to come up and speak?
Please state your name and your address for the record, please.
All right, so my name is Jennifer Furnish, and my address is 2770 Chatswood Drive. The reason I'm here is because we are one of the homes that got beautiful oak trees that will grow with canopies of over 80 feet, and they are planted 30 feet apart. And we are already struggling with our grass and having it not all die. And so we recognize we would have to pay to have one cut down, but when they are fully grown, it would still cover the entire front yard, and hopefully we would still have grass. So that is why we are here, to make sure that we can keep our yards looking in the manner at which Trophy Club deserves. So, any questions for me?
Is that for or against?
It is for.
Okay.
Want to be able
A
to
little confused.
cut down one of these trees. Anything
No,
else?
no, the ordinance is not to cut anything down. It's just a minimum of one. Is really what
Yes, but
is.
it would allow us to remove one so that not all of our grass dies.
Yes. No, I understand. I have 3 oak trees in my yard.
Okay. Thank you.
We have Ashley Mangel.
Ashley? Please state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Ashley Mangel. I'm at 2406 Mona Vale Road in Trophy Club in the Highlands, and I came here in support of agenda number 1. I do feel like some of the trees are pretty crowded, or like the tree recommendation is pretty crowding of the yards. We're having some issues where we're having trouble keeping our grass kind of with the aesthetic of Trophy Club and that maintenance of it. We wouldn't necessarily be looking to cut things down or change our lot too much, but we would like the ability to be able to grow like beautiful grass and keep our lawn well maintained. So I am for this agenda. Anything else for me?
No? Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, Jennifer Falls.
Jennifer? Again, please state your name and address for the record.
Jennifer Falls, 2726 Broadway Drive in Trophy Club. I am for agenda item number 1. We've had to actually remove a tree because of the hard freeze. The tree died. We had an arborist come out. They were like, there's no way to revive this tree. So we got it removed, and then in lieu of planting there, we kept that empty, and then we ended up putting a smaller red bud to have the 2-tree minimum so that we wouldn't get in trouble in our flower bed. So it kind of worked out, but it's like my workaround for it. But like putting 2 trees in the front yard of these like 70-foot lots is, as they're maturing and getting bigger, it's just not sustainable. Like our full yard was shaded. Like now our grass is actually thriving and growing, and we don't have a dead tree. But anything else?
Questions for her? Anyone? That's all?
Nope. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? No one signed up? Okay. Now we're open for discussion. Commissioners, questions, staff?
One quick comment. Who of y'all by raise of hand lives in the Highlands? 3 of you? Okay.
How many trees you got?
I was just going to say, just for benefit of the group and the town, we are going from, so there's 5 different lot types covered. We are minimum 1 tree regardless of lot type, right?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Because I have 3. I have the best lot in my neighborhood because I'm on the outside of a curve.
You've got a
I have the
90-foot,
best-
yeah.
I have the best front yard ever, so we're not getting rid of any trees, but
That's correct.
I do see on my street where, as a practical matter,
Yeah.
it gets pretty tough to maintain trees. As you know, trees grow, and I think when these homes get built, we think one thing, but then as the trees mature, it becomes a difficult situation for a homeowner. So I wanted to just get clear on that. Is that we've got 5 lot types designated, but whether you've got a 90-foot or a 50-foot, 1 tree minimum.
That's correct.
Okay. So,
I have one question for you, Matt. Is the Highlands the only one that has a different requirement than the rest of the town?
No, there's other HOAs
Well, okay,
that are,
But
there are
PDs, yeah.
PDs that have.
That
you know,
require-
have different requirements and minimums. And
okay.
so
But this one would just be for,
specific for
PD
PD
27.
27.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I don't have a question, I have just a comment.
Comment?
That
Go
I'll
ahead.
throw out. I think the ordinance originally was a great idea with some very negative unintended consequences. In looking, especially at my house, we didn't get to pick our trees. However, they have grown tremendously. You can't see the front of my house anymore. So it is really aggressive pruning, which adds to the expense to our neighbor. Tree died. In order to match the tree is $40,000 to $60,000 that they're gonna have to pay to replace like-kind tree, or same size. Or we go to the fully mature tree with the sprig. I mean, it complies, but nobody wants to do that. They want the option of 1 tree. It doesn't say you cut trees. It says you have a minimum of 1, which gives you the flexibility to really enhance the landscaping around your house. You can see your house, and then you get the benefit of the sunlight and other plantings that you have. And so I've driven through, and I see a lot of mixed trees in the front yard, because this has happened before.
Oh, yeah.
So instead of going back with a live oak, they picked a red bud, they picked something else. I don't think the aesthetic is what the ordinance originally intended, but that's the byproduct. And so that's what we have. And so you see all the acorns on the sidewalks, you see them in the street, you see them everywhere. So for me, I am fully understanding of the necessity to back this ordinance down to 1 tree minimum.
I think part of the problem, the ordinance, wasn't it, the original one, development plan, was they didn't count the driveways and sidewalks in the calculation for what the distance was from trees. You know, and that happens a lot in developments, particularly that area was developed, I guess, was it already in the county? I mean, were we incorporated when that was developed? Yeah.
Yes, was that 12, 2012, 13, 14 is when?
Yeah, because I
all-
think they
all those-
finished in 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I do have a question for staff. So what consideration was given to, was there any thought process into putting some sort of calculation into the minimum trees? And so I think about context that you offered for your lot. It seems though that ratio may be appropriate for yours. Others, it doesn't seem like it's something that really makes sense. Did we go down that path, or is this just kind of seen as, hey, here's what was presented, or this is what was discussed, and here's why we're bringing it for consideration? And I just think of, width of lot, depending on where you're taking that measurement, and even nearby, just around the corner from where I am, I can look at the front of lots. The front of the lots are actually pretty narrow, or maybe only one tree would make sense. Are we thinking only front yard? Are we taking into consideration backyard width
These are
as well?
front yard. This
That's
is
what I
front yard
thought. And
standard.
so yeah, I can see where one tree makes perfect sense. In some instances, maybe more than one. And so, I'm generally in support of something that the community wants, but I would like to know that we kind of put some good due diligence effort into kind of thinking about maybe some of the quantitative aspects of what we would consider today as well.
Yeah. It's, 30 foot is a pretty common standard to do. But what you see is this comes up in a lot of communities, not just PD 27, but it comes up across the board 10, 12, 15 years down the road. I mean, you see it even in just commercial landscaping, where when they open a commercial building and they've got all the pretty mulch and all the flowers and all the shrubs, well, all those shrubs are small. They're going to place them, 1 foot, 2 foot centers all the way across. But 4 years, 5 years, every other one of those shrubs will have to get pulled because they're just going to be overgrown, and then it'll look good again. So I think this is just one of those that early on, at the beginning of a development, this would be a standard thing to do. But also, what was, said on different trees, some trees are just not going to work on a 70-foot lot, 2 trees side by side. It's just not, and then plus you have the driveway. So yes, it's a 70-foot lot, but you have an 18-foot concrete driveway. But that's not taken into consideration.
So what would it take for us to think through or have some sort of basic assumptions if you have a lot that's this width, and we know what the driveway width should be for the most part, depending on each of these lots as well. Here's a species of trees that would make sense to be in, I guess, those circumstances. So I think you said there was I think it's 1,300 lots that this applies to. And we've got a lot of information for each one of them. So is there a rationale that goes in behind this instead of just having some sweeping, overarching generalization?
Well, I think that would be a great idea to do on the beginning of the PD. So when I'm bringing a new PD to the commission and to the council, I think that's where that could be taken into consideration. And just in my opinion, I think that would be the time to look at that, do that on the front end.
That's
So,
ideal. I agree with you. That's the ideal time to do it.
Yeah.
We tend to find ourselves fixing things on this
That's true.
committee more often than not, because everything's built out for pretty much in
Yeah,
the city.
this would almost, when I looked at this in depth on just, I can't remember which, I think it was lot type 2s and 3s, you're almost going case by case. I mean, yes, you have quite a few homes that are very standard. They're, on one street, but as soon as you start making a curve, it starts changing things. I mean, it would be a very, very detailed to come up with this particular lot, 2 trees minimum. This one's okay for 1. So I think that would be a lot for 1,300 homes.
And then ongoing enforcement would be exciting.
Then sunny side of street,
Yes, ma'am.
non-sunny
This
side.
is my first town meeting, so I don't really know if I'm supposed to speak or not.
Oh, you can.
Come on up here, speak.
That's
what we're here for. We want to hear from
I just
everybody.
kind of like flip my opinion around. I just try to your comment, sir, I have one of the larger lots, and I did not get to pick my trees. We just actually moved in quite some time ago, a few months ago, in May, or April, sorry. And we have 2 trees in our front yard. They are pretty like they're pretty mature. They are so shaded that we're having a really hard time maintaining the front yard of our, and a couple sections of it. But even so, like, if you use my case as being the largest lot that is in the Highlands, we have 2 trees. The tree list that we can replace it with are shaded trees, so they are meant to shade a yard. One of my, and I believe they're original trees because they're pretty mature, one tree would cover my shade my entire front yard. And to your point, I can't really see much of my front of my house. I don't think that's the aesthetic that we want in Trophy Club. But I just wanted to raise my hand because I have one of the larger lots, and even having the largest lot, and I think we actually have technically 3 trees. One's like on the flower bed, but just the two trees in the front yard, one of them would completely be able to provide enough shade for the whole front yard. 2 is kind of overkill, and that's, and we're people who pay to have our grass serviced, have our grass like landscaped, we have companies come and do that every week. So we pay for a top turf to come and like water and seed our grass. So doing all of those things, there's still spots that grass won't grow. And that's kind of like, a larger problem, right? It's like here you have somebody who's coming into the community, they're doing all the right things, and it's still not really the yard that at least I'm not really getting my money's worth out of maintaining the yard, and I'm still having trouble growing grass. So happy to come and look at my house.
Do you have front-facing windows?
I do.
How's the view?
Of what it's just,
Anything.
it's all shade. Yeah, I mean, it's all shade. I mean, like you don't really, and I can show you some pictures of our house, but it's all shade. You can kind of see our front door. And that's kind of about it. And that's just because, like there's a walkway to our front door. There's a mature tree on this side, a mature tree on that side. And then over towards the driveway, there's just like a patch of grass that like is just kind of mud, really. And if it wasn't for our St. Augustine grass that we have kind of growing like a vine, there would be nothing there but dirt. And that's really kind of like, something I would like to be able to solve. It's not because I want to come over here and, be a lumberjack and cut down all my trees. It's just I want to have an aesthetically pleasing yard to match my neighbors.
Ms. Manser, right?
Mangel, yes.
Mangel, thank you. So thank you also for coming in and offering context tonight. So really, a part of this body, if you weren't already aware, we make recommendations to council.
Okay.
And so as a part of, kind of taking our role seriously is, yeah, we want to see what comes in terms of the way of, what support the community has for or against something. We want to look at the excellent information that we get typically from staff.
For sure.
Right, and what their recommendations are. And then kind of look at it from the homeowner standpoint. We live in the community as well. You're our neighbors. And kind of think about, kind of the short, medium, long-term implications. And so that's part of what the dialogue is here today. And then we thankfully have Mr. Chair to keep us in line. So all that to say, appreciate you coming. This is, I'll offer this just for the sake of perspective. We've had issues in our front yard with our trees also.
Yeah.
And so it's not something that's uncommon. And we certainly don't want to get knocked on the door by the HOA if you're not, meeting some sort of standard.
For sure.
So that can happen also. But thank you again.
Yes. Have a good day.
Appreciate it.
Anybody else? Comments, questions? Yes, sir. Please state your name and address.
John Brady, 2517 Ralston Drive. I really didn't plan on talking. Right now, if you take a look through my neighborhood, I ride the bike all through the neighborhood, I see different lots. A lot of times, people don't take into account the depth of the lot from the house to the tree. There's a couple of lots that the root structures of those trees take the whole lot up. And it's a pile of dirt in front of the house. other people have replaced trees, but they're not replacing them with live oaks. They're using maples. I've seen magnolias. I've seen crepe myrtles. So there's no uniformity. There's nothing that really develops in the neighborhood that what is planned for. So that's what I just wanted to add. And I'd love to go down to one tree. I got a tree right now that root structures are coming from my sidewalk. So and then who knows what it's doing to the plumbing. So it's only 13, it's 15 years old or whatever. I can't imagine some of the problems they have on the other side of town. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's also a handful of the Bradford pears.
Yes.
The old Bradford pears. If y'all saw that I was being distracted, so I was sending a text to our town attorney because I wanted to make sure that living in PD 27, y'all could vote. And he said because of statute, whatever, and property rights, that you have the ability to vote. It made me nervous real quick when I saw 3 hands. I was like, ooh. So, but y'all are good.
As long as they tell us about it, it's fine.
Yeah,
But we can choose to abstain.
you can.
You can. If you will.
Sit back and relax.
Also, the other point of this thing is you don't have to cut any trees down. If you want to plant 3 more, you can, under this ordinance change, okay? So it's not that restrictive, It's just minimum. We're talking about 1 tree to change the original PD requirements for the HOA. It'd be easy for the HOA too. Cut back a lot of time. It's kind of like fences and trees in this town. Those are the things we deal with mostly, fences and trees. So,
I have a question for Matt on trees in general. Do we have like you can plant these trees and you can't plant these trees kind of guide anywhere in the town?
So each PD will have specific tree list.
Okay.
And PD 27 does have a specific tree list on it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we have a list of the forbidden trees.
Forbidden trees. Are any of them fruit bearing?
Yes, I said.
All of them are fruit bearing.
Forbidden fruit.
okay, any other comments or questions for anyone that's made a presentation or staff at this point in time? Okay, all we need to do now is have a motion, one way or the other.
Your turn, Sean.
No, it's your turn. You go for it. I'll second you.
I've got to find the agenda again now.
That's why I didn't want to go read it.
Paperwork everywhere. Okay.
It's item number 1.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a proposal to accept case PD AMD 26003 PD 27 landscape standards. And I would propose that we accept these amendments as written.
As presented.
Second.
We have a second. Any other discussion or questions from anyone? None? Call the point. All in favor? You can't vote. Opposed? And abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
It makes for a good.
Thanks for your input, too. It's fun to have people come and talk. Usually, there's nobody in the room.
Yeah.
You may have to come to city council, too, and do that, too.
I'm bringing them back in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, fun.
We
All right, we're going on to item number 2. Item number 2 is case number RP 26001, Triple Crown Estates replat. Conduct a public hearing and consider a recommendation to the town council on a request by Moda Homes LLC to approve a replat of lots 1 through 6, 7X, and 8X, Block A, Triple Crown Estates, being a 2.992 acre tract of land situated in the Mary Medlin Survey, abstract number 832, Town of Trophy Club, Denton County, Texas, 76262, and to approve an ordinance abandoning the public street right-of-way for Triple Crown Drive to establish a private street and public utility drainage and emergency access easement serving the subdivision. The time is 6:29 PM. Public hearing is open.
All right, good evening again. Yeah, I bet y'all are surprised to see this one again. If y'all recall, we went months. There was the discussion along this back line with the power lines.
Right.
That's actually one of the reasons, because of the delay on that was why we went ahead and just went preliminary plat and final plat and got it filed with the county so that he could go ahead and get civils and, because he had gotten so far behind. So here we are. The purpose of this replat is exactly what you said. It is to convert the existing public right-of-way to private, which was his original intent, was to have that private, basically to privacy entry gate. The former public right-of-way will be replaced with private street and public utility, drainage, and emergency access easement to provide continued access for emergency services, utilities, drainage, and maintenance. The final plat that y'all approved, nothing else has changed except for the language on the notes, basically just changing from public right-of-way to private. Notice public hearing was published as required by our zoning ordinance and state law. Notices were mailed to property owners within 200 feet. At the time of the agenda packet was published, staff had not received any letters in support or opposition. Dean, our town attorney, has actually, he's completely reviewed, this has gone through his team. You've got, they went through all the owner's dedication and the notes to make sure that everything was correct as per what needed to be for Denton County. Staff recommends approval and recommendation to council, and I'm here, and I think we have a, yep. Hey. Good. And we have a representative. Mr. Jepson's out of town today, so that's all I've got.
Okay, does anyone else want to speak at this time, or wait for question and answer? No?
Just if you have any questions about it,
Okay.
we are the, I mean, can I come?
After, we'll wait.
Yeah, let me close the
Yep.
public hearing, 6:32 PM. Okay, now, does anyone want to speak? You want to come up and speak about it? You want to wait for questions?
I'll wait for questions then.
Okay.
Okay, I'll speak. Okay, my name is Hector Alba. I do not have an address here, but I'm a co-owner with Nathan Jefferson of Motorhomes. And we did that development. It's finished that stage, and we are now starting to build the houses. And we just think it's for the value of the street, just to bring it on a private situation, so we can gate it, the community. And I think it's even the next community, Churchill Downs, is the same situation. So basically, we are trying to maintain that same aesthetics and same thing as Churchill Downs, basically.
We use the same language as Churchill Downs on their private,
did-
so
yeah,
we mimic that.
So I do have a couple questions related to the gate itself. What sort of specifications are you all looking at? And keeping in mind, there's quite a bit of traffic that goes back and forth down this road. So there's Trophy Club Park at the end. There's also a dog park there, plus the community, the neighbors in this community that live there. So believe it or not, there's quite a bit of traffic that goes down this road, even though it's tucked up in the community. So, Churchill Downs, it's an interesting comparison in that, you go and actually at that point, you're pretty good distance away from where a lot of this activity would be, and it's a pretty wide area, and they even have kind of a staging presence, if you will, for you can wait for the gate to open. So back to the specs about the gate. How quickly will the gate open, the one that you all are looking at getting? And just thinking of trying to, simply from a safety standpoint, how are we clearing traffic as smoothly and efficiently as possible off the main road?
Yeah, I think it's pretty standard. I mean, how quickly they open, I think it will take about 5 to 10 seconds at the most. And we'll have a space, at least for a car, before the gates.
It was designed, all the civils, the original civils were designed for this.
Yeah, they are not at the.
This isn't an afterthought.
No, I'm just asking for the record, what is, because we brought up, I guess, whenever it initially came, there was just questions about if there's a line of cars, what would that do? So
We have a space to be a car standing there, not blocking Trophy Park Drive. And
So it's not a turn lane, but they can turn into
yeah,
the
they can
private
turn
drive.
into the, yeah, and the gate, it will have probably,
Okay.
it will be like 30 feet inside of the street.
Setback.
Yeah.
Could you show me on this plat where the gate would actually be? Is that where the orange label is? Is the gate physically going to be abutting Trophy Park Drive?
Right in here is where,
So
so it shows on the civils, but we wouldn't have that on a plat. But on the civils, it shows, and I'm doing the best I can. It's right
Sure, yeah.
in about here.
Okay.
It can fit
So-
2 cars? So here,
It'll hold 2 cars.
And,
Yes.
and stacked or?
Stacked 2 cars.
Stacked 2
Yes.
cars. Okay.
So it's 30 feet in, roughly.
Amazon trucks?
UPS trucks, U-Haul trucks?
Maybe not an F-350.
Maybe not a freight truck.
One point I want for the record is, by granting this back to them, deeding this back to them, they maintain the road.
That's
So
true.
we just have access for utilities and emergency and things like that through easements.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
One
Well,
less,
that's the
one
first
less,
question I had.
One less expense for the city.
one less street for
One
me.
less street to maintain.
So my question centers around the HOA. It's my understanding that you probably will have an HOA.
Yeah, that's the idea, to have
So-
a HOA, but we need to know that this is gonna proceed, so we can start with the lawyers to start writing our HOA.
So for me, that's the cart before the horse. You're privatizing a street that was heretofore public. So you're transferring liability and assessments for maintenance, repair, paving, bad weather, ice and snow. You're transferring that maintenance cost onto your future homeowners through assessments. And so,
But we don't have owners yet.
I know what you will, but you're going to get a gate to sell cachet to this neighborhood because you use Churchill Downs. So the cachet is moving your price points to a degree where it justifies having a private gate. Well, once you privatize that street, all costs are no longer borne by the town, they're borne by the residents.
Correct.
And so without a maintenance agreement to put into place, how does a future homeowner know what their financial exposure is?
No, I mean, everything should be written before to sell any of the houses.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're asking us to approve this and move it to council, and I'm almost positive that council will have some of these same questions for you when this comes up. Because you have lots that are being built. Say a repave of the street in 10, 12 years, who knows if it was bad. And it's 200 grand. You have 6 lots. It's 200 grand split 6 ways. That's a pretty heavy assessment onto a homeowner that's moved here into Trophy Club. The other is ice and snow. Who takes care of that? Utility work. You've granted the easements for utility work, but the cost may be borne by the homeowners again. So my question is there a financial reserve being held by Moda Homes to take care of some of this in the future while you create an HOA and then move the HOA to the residents? And then you get into the part of, what if you have residents that don't want to participate in your assessments? Is there an enforceability that your HOA is going to have to make them pay up? And if they don't, who will? So these are my questions that are coming up, because you are privatizing something. So once you privatize it, you are saying, I agree to pay all of the expenses associated with the upkeep of this street, the street lights, and everything else. And then it would come to my last question, who owns the street?
Right now,
Once you privatize this,
I
who
mean-
owns the street?
The HOA.
the HOA on the street. Yeah.
And the HOA doesn't exist.
Oh, they've got their CC&Rs.
Right, but do they have their maintenance agreement in place? Do they have the stipulations for financial reserves? Do they have gate operating hours? Do they have ingress egress situations set up, vehicle rules, commercial vehicle limitations, parking restrictions, guest access? Because we're basically transferring utter control of that one piece of concrete to future residents.
Yeah, that's, We
So,
have that on
I know,
Churchill Downs and
Right.
across the street. We
Right.
have it here. We have it for Hogan's Glen.
that's true.
I'm failing to understand your concern or question.
So my concern is the town is looking to privatize a piece of concrete. So that means future expenses
town.
are going to be borne. No, that's what I'm saying.
Their
The-
request.
The town is looking to approve this plat. That's what we're proposing to move to council, correct?
Yes?
To approve this, to allow them to put in a gate. So we're privatizing a strip of concrete, and so we're basically imputing future assessments onto 6 homeowners. And you don't have a mechanism to require them to do this. What if Moda Homes sells and moves?
No, that's where this is all in the plat. This is like every other plat.
Right. But I'm saying, when we move past the platting process, when you actually get into the operation of selling houses to these people, what disclosure do you give them that, oh, since this is a private drive, you can be expecting to pay these type of assessments routinely over a period of time?
HOA fees.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. And I may not be explaining it right, but one paving job, if it's 200 grand, split 6 ways. That's,
I know.
I understand
It's
your
exactly
question,
like,
but
it's
what he's-
exactly like across the street, the townhomes across the street.
Yeah.
That's a private street.
yeah,
And so each lot owns that part of that street.
And each
out in
lot will
front.
be sold subject to the homeowner association.
Correct.
Covenants and restrictions.
Yeah.
correct.
So that, if you're gonna buy a house in there, you're gonna be made
So
aware.
who's running the HOA?
Well, that's,
That's the question. We have an HOA with the CCN, covenant conditions, restrictions, and everything else in place. Who owns it? At what point is it transferred? Is it transferred to the homeowners, or does MODA retain it? And if MODA retains it, do they have sufficient reserves to cover the cost? Because I've seen it before, that we get in, we sell it, we bankrupt it, we move on, and then all of a sudden, somebody has to take and replat this to the town as a public road, that it comes back in. I've seen it happen before. That's the only reason I bring it up.
Okay.
It's not happened at Churchill Downs, but that's my concern. So those are my concerns, as that we are privatizing something for operational and financial reasons, but at the same time, the HOA can be pretty egregious based on the expenses associated with upkeep. Now, yes, they're covered by HOA fees, but does a homeowner that's coming in to buy this have an idea of what those assessments might be?
Yeah, of course, because before to sell any houses, the agreement needs to be done and ready, and they will know exactly how much it's expecting to pay. I mean, and that's the reason when you move with an existing HOA,
Sure.
you should know before, right?
We see regular and routine expenses.
Yeah.
Are they aware that anything beyond that is a special assessment that will be directed to them and them only?
Correct. I mean, they will know before they buy a property, of course.
Okay? So I can see
no, I understand.
right now that evidently this is not a concern, is we move this forward, that we're having people come in to buy into the town that may not have an idea of the expenses that they're going to be required and be assessed on. And my other question is whatever HOA is there, do they have the requisite enforcement to require all homeowners to pay their assessment? Because if they don't, who settles disputes? Same with traffic, same with ingress, same with parking. You have on-street parking. Who takes care of on-street parking issues? And that's why I'm asking about the HOA.
Correct.
Because typically an HOA is in place, and then as people grow, it's not as restrictive as this, as Churchill Downs is an established neighborhood, so they pretty much have this all going. Folks across the street, I came in today, almost had a wreck, because I had 2 people backing out of there. They decided that they wanted to go in and take a look, so instead of going and turning around, they just shot it in reverse. And it's like, uh-oh.
Matt, I have a question, just as it relates to some of the concerns that we're hearing. Through a builder's process, and I guess I'm trying to learn from my own experience, right? I think I remember with the builder that built our home in this community, there was a pretty thick packet of information that was provided to us that explained what the HOA mechanisms were that were in place, right? Now, everybody may not read those. I took some time to actually read through them myself. So I think from an awareness piece for future homeowners, Terry, I think a builder presents that information. I think I'm not a real estate agent, so I can't speak to this, but I want to make a safe assumption here that it's a requirement that those things get provided as a part of the transaction. So
Correct.
I can't disagree with any of the concerns you have. What I guess I'm asking and trying to kind of point to is, I think through the real estate transaction process and through builders, this information from a legal standpoint has to be provided. And again, I'm not an attorney, and I'm not a real estate agent, but just going on my own experience. So I think these are very valid points, and more or less, I think what we want to hear, or I think what I'm would like to have peace of mind of is these are the types of things, there'll be a full disclosure to whoever future owner is in your community on what the requirements of them will be.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like you said, I'm not a real estate agent as well, but I have been through hundreds of transactions, buying and selling. And every time that we buy within a HOA, it's a requirement during the buying process that you receive a copy of the HOA way before you sign a contract. So you need to go through everything, right? Through all the rules and everything, and that's when you decide, oh, this is for me, this is not for me, because I'm not willing to pay that money, or I'm not willing to comply with all those rules. But the future owners will have that right to decide it.
As a part of a community and what's being proposed here, do you all, from the town standpoint, do you all see what the language is as a part of the HOA and it's kind of really, it's kind of is it out of sight, out of mind? Because it's not really an ordinance. You all don't have direct control of that. But I'm thinking of again, I'm trying to be sensitive to some of the concerns that Terry's bringing up, which I think are valid. I mean, these are
They're valid. They're
future
valid.
neighbors in our community.
Okay, so if you go back, the trails across the street, those were PDs, well, actually, the trails is not, but that was a specific PD. So P&Z and council was privy to a lot more information in that PD packet.
Sure.
Remember, these are just straight R15. And so it was straight zoning, so we're not going to get the details on that. And then also keep in mind, preliminary plats, final plats, replats, these are all ministerial, these are everything that is required to be on this replat is on it. And we've gone the extra mile with our attorney to make sure that all of the right-of-way language was in there correctly, just because if this hadn't been filed, if we had just held it, then it'd probably been a little easier process, but we went ahead and put a lot more things on this plat than on the original final plat if you had them in comparison. So that's kind of where we stand.
Typically, these plats, though, have the HOA language on them.
That's what I thought. I thought there was a page that typically
Required.
Yeah, it's in the notes.
It's in the notes.
Yeah, it's HOA, maintained, owned and maintained.
Normal TREC contracts are used, do have a check mark for HOA policies. Have they been delivered? It's a check mark. Now, whether the agent files it or not, that's another story.
Correct.
Title company should catch it, but
Yeah.
it is standard, because there's been a lot of issues, disclosure issues in the past.
Is there HOA language that's already been drafted, sir?
Yeah, sir, kind of, yes.
And maybe, I guess, and I guess the intent of having some progress here this evening with you, as a part of our recommendation, would we consider that the HOA language be included with the submittal to council? Can we recommend that?
Again, what I'm presenting is everything that our ordinance requires for that to be presented to P&Z and council.
So what about the instances, though, where we do have the HOA language included?
The HOA language is in there. It's in the notes.
But I thought we heard that it wasn't, it's
Well,
still.
No,
the
you are
final
talking, but you are
final
talking,
covenants and restrictions haven't been finally drafted. What they do is they copy everyone else's, typically, is what they do.
Yeah.
They go to the
It's
attorney-
boilerplate.
Yeah, it's boilerplate stuff, and then they add whatever specifics have to do with their thing, but it's pretty boilerplate stuff.
What you're talking about is the information that it's provided to each of the owners. Yeah, that's what we're working on it, but the HOA, it's on the plat. I mean,
No, I get that.
They have to create and they have to produce the documents,
Yes.
you know, by law, I mean.
And and the bottom line
That
is,
doesn't
we
come
don't, it doesn't come to the town. We
I
don't
don't
have any,
get-
we don't
I
have
don't get
visibility.
involved
I
in
can't tell
real
them what to
estate.
do on the HOA. That's getting a little too much in their business.
Yeah, and that was just my concerns, is with a brand-new addition,
and I think they're about, like,
Well,
an HOA that's going to be required on a privatized street, that we don't have the final CCRs in place or written, but we are going to be selling lots pretty soon, I would estimate. And so, it's a little difficult to provide somebody with something when it's not written. So that's my only concern. I don't have a problem with the gate. I don't have a problem with the privatization. But these are comments and concerns that I had that I wanted to put on record moving forward. So again, when this goes to council, I'm almost certain several of them may ask some of the same questions.
Can I ask maybe a dumb question here, but to Terry's point, as I understand it, when you're selling homes, right, Fresh Live, I've built a couple homes. Basically, the builder owns or manages the HOA until it's full, right?
Correct.
And then they will, whatever, deed that over to the HOA and say, this is all yours.
They create a board.
It'd create a board and all that kind of good stuff.
Correct.
So during the whole time, y'all are collecting dues and keeping a reserve that you then hand over
to the HO.
to the HO.
I mean, yeah, whoever they decide will be the board and the president,
President and
secretary
all
and
that.
stuff, yeah.
Okay, but there's no, I mean, it's nothing for us to enforce on this, but there's no minimum set or anything like that of, well, we must have this much reserve and by the time we pass it over to the homeowners.
I think it's a timing, whenever they get full.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And I think that's outside of what we're supposed to
Yeah.
consider today.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk, I mean, but the language is in there in every single, in all plats, is that if the town has to go in and do repairs, then
They charge it, right?
yes, and it gets charged back to the HOA.
I think most people buying in private gated communities know that.
Sure.
Unless you're buying.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Unless you're buying lot one. If you're buying lot one on this, then the gate is kind of in the middle of your property.
Yeah.
So half of your house is in a gated community, and the other half isn't.
least they have
This is a
to.
good discount for lot one.
on lot
one?
I was thinking about lot one, but I'm like, now I've got, what if there's this problem? I guess I've only got to put in half dues or something.
One of the questions I did receive, I can't, this wasn't council, but the streets are, obviously, they're built and constructed, inspected to our specs, whether private or not.
Right.
And so, again, like
Yeah,
Aldonia across the
we know
street.
how it was built, so we know it's gonna last
Yep.
a few years.
Anything else, gentlemen? Nothing else, okay. Then we should entertain a motion to recommend approval or disapproval.
Make a motion to recommend approval of case RP 26-001 Triple Crown Estates replat as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion or questions for anyone? Okay, we'll call the point. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll move on to item number 3, which is consider approval of the June 4th, 2026 P and Z meeting minutes, which are in your packet. I think the only item was the swimming pool company, wasn't it?
Yep,
That was the only item on there.
pinch a penny.
Any other, everybody's reviewed that, I assume, and are there any other changes or additions to it, deletions? No? Motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
We have a motion, we have a second? I'll second. Okay, all in favor? Unanimous. Meeting is adjourned at 6:54 PM.